up-and-coming thing in the area of mobility. I would be curious to, the other two panelists would say what they think about wearables and where they see wearables coming into the area of mobility.
I'll give it a start. You know, we're seeing some hints of some pretty cool devices coming down the road from the Samsungs and the Apples of the world today. But interestingly, let me ask, how many of you are familiar with Kickstarter? I love this group. There was a cool little watch called the Pebble Watch. How many of us have them or are waiting for them? A good number. So, you know, the wearables have been around, or the inklings of it, for 18 months or longer. Our friends at Nike did some work with some sneakers and some iPads or iPods actually beginning. And I really think what we're going to see is that the growth is going to, and the trick in this whole opportunity for all of us is how do we get more devices in more places, which makes our friends at Intel happy, in order for us to get more information out to people where they want it, when they want it, and in the form they want it. Which also, interestingly, plays back on the old story of big data, which is not part of our topic tonight, but in wearing these devices, bringing iPhones and Apple products and Android products and all these other mobility devices into the world and on us. I think all of us now carry more devices when we're in town and around town than we ever used to travel, which is going to start to feed back data to systems on the back end to do some other wonderful things that we'll probably talk a little more about later in the panel. But I think mobile and wearable devices are going to be anywhere and every place, and it doesn't necessarily mean on your wrist or in your foot. Mark?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, all of you are, from the show of hands, right? You're in the middle of it, and so I think that just in general, you know, certainly in the healthcare side of the business, I think it's very exciting to look at that technology from a bio perspective, or just remote medicine for that matter. A lot of those are just no-brainer types of applications that you would want to invest in. I think the other one is where you had, you know, who's been exposed to Google Glass here? Yeah, so a few hands. I think that's a great experience that they're creating. I think it will have many different applications for it, just as you're seeing the iPhone today. You know, in fact, I was up on the store last night, and I just noticed all of the different devices that have come out. You know, it's quite amazing. It continues to refresh every week of things that you see that are interesting that plug into that device. But these kind of platform-based devices, I think, will create you know, really nice giant ecosystems around them. And I would always look at that as being a great investment opportunity because you'll find that there'll be a lot of applications adoption.
You know, the interesting thing about wearables is, you know, whenever there's sort of a new wave of device, there's this explosion of experiments on how to use it. And I think it'll be interesting to see what sticks. You know, it seems to me to be that there's a whole, as Mark mentioned, healthcare or personal care component, which is I want to monitor myself either for my own purposes or for other care providers' purposes, whether that's health information that is you know, medically oriented, maybe my blood pressure, maybe my pulse, whatever else. Could be just fitness oriented. How far did I run today? How long did it take me? You know, did I run in an elevation? Did I listen to music while I was doing it? What did I do? You know, at home I time my kids all play soccer. My oldest two are trying to get their speed up so that we go out in the morning and we time them, and I use an app on my phone to do it today. But if I could hand them one, would they use it? They very well might. But there are a lot of uses we haven't talked about yet. What about in-store retail advertising and couponing and that sort of thing? If you have digital advertising and it recognizes you, it's certainly capable of embedding audio signals in that and sending that to your device so that you can recognize it, accept that into your digital wallet. And when you check out, if there's integration, you get that, you get that discount, or you get part of that affinity program. You don't have to do anything. That's a lot closer to reality than you think. I mean, that's happening today. I'll be talking to some people about that next week. It won't necessarily yet be a wearable, but it's in a smart device. And it may not need an app to do it. So I think all of these things are definitely coming, and it's just, what are going to be the devices that work for us? And we're just going to have a lot more options today. And it used to be, I think we have 10 iPods at home of different ilks and sizes and shapes, in addition to all the phones and everything else that we have. And some of them don't get used anymore because, well, I don't like that form factor anymore, I'm going to move on to the next one. Or that context isn't great for my phone, it's too heavy and big, I want something really small. So the proliferation of devices is just another, it used to be that compute was a thing, it was an event. We went to something to get computing. Think about your kitchen. I'm going over to the computer now because I'm going to do something on the computer, right? But now your computer's in your pocket, it'll be on your wrist. You won't go to the computer anymore because it'll be with you. And so the point is, what is more useful with me as not? And so there'll be a lot of shakeout about what is and what isn't. I think that's sort of the revolution we're going through now.
The question is, what is the next mobile technology to watch? And basically, I'm going to give you a list of about half a dozen technologies, and let you decide which one you think will be the next one to watch. LTE broadcast, augmented reality, pressable displays, HMTL, wireless charging, near-field communication, 3D displays. Now, let anybody take that who wants to.
I think I'll start. I think near field is dying to really get out there and make it big. And I'm, maybe there's a little chicken and egg problem in the logistics, but just a little bit. And it may be as simple as a battery problem in the devices that people are carrying around, and maybe a little bit on the security side, which is always a significant consideration. But I think that's wants to be almost here yesterday, and I think it'll get here tomorrow.
I've been spending a lot of time recently with augmented reality, and maybe as a father of 3 boys who, whenever I travel, ask me 45 questions about whatever we're looking at. Dad, what's that? What's the picture up there? How long has it been there? How old is it? I'd love to be able to hold my phone up to that and get all that data so I could look really smart in front of them. Or maybe that ship has already sailed, I don't know. But I think the capabilities of your phone, with the graphics it has, with the imaging capability it has, how high quality the cameras are, with the compute capacity, it can do a lot of things around image recognition. It can provide really high quality imaging, things around like computational photography where I can, I take a picture and I focus in on different things later. Is very cool. If I can do all of that and I can mate that with big data, that seems like a pretty big market opportunity to me. Because there are a lot of vested interests there that you could bring to the table for a lot of commercial reasons. So that's the area I'm very excited about.
Yeah, and I would reiterate that, as I think that a classic example, if you look at the class again, is that there's the ability to create these augmented reality type applications depending on your presence and where you are. And I think that will present a great number of opportunities to certainly those that are in the advertising space, right? And so I think that everything for me is kind of driven by experiences. They have to be very high, compelling experiences to get people to move. And I think you saw that early with Apple. It was interesting, some of the recent interviews about, where's Apple going? Is it up, down? Steve's gone, is it down again? But I think at the end of the day is that those companies that are really leading that charge of innovation, particularly Google is in the space. I would argue that Amazon will probably be a significant player. But I think that those that are delivering those experiences is, I think, where I would start to really kind of focus my time.
There's a cool example. How many of you take video on your phone? Right? And have it either, how many of you diligently go home at night and, move it to another hard drive? Right? None of you, right? So what would be cool is if I have all this video on my phone, and it's of different things. What if I could ask my phone, please make me a 2-minute highlight reel of my kids scoring soccer goals so I can show that to my father when I go to visit him? That would be very cool, right? That requires this marriage of big data and phone capability, because you have to recognize that object. It has to have been fed back to some place where there's some library of the images that I take. Who are those people? I'd rather not have to tag them on my own, but maybe I may have to train the algorithm. But if I could do that, that would be very cool, right? And so that's sort of my dream application, because whenever I go anywhere, people say, well, how old are your kids? What are they doing now? I'm like, man, it'd be great if I could just queue up the video, right? And I could edit it on the fly. I wouldn't have to do anything except, turn 2 dials and push go, and it would be ready. So that's sort of kind of what I think about when I think about these capabilities of marriage of big data and what's on the phone.